Women in Print Alliance is dedicated to connecting, empowering, and advancing women in the printing industry. As part of Printing United Alliance, we're fostering a more inclusive future through advocacy, education, and networking opportunities that connect women across the entire industry. Join us as an individual to grow your career, expand your network, and access exclusive resources, or enroll your entire organization to show your commitment to supporting women in print. Become a member today at womeninprintalliance.org and help us shape the future of print.
Welcome to Her Imprint, part of the Impressions Exchange. I'm Denise Gustafson, your host. This podcast celebrates the remarkable women who are transforming the printing industry. We'll explore their journeys, from challenges to triumphs, and share the stories that leave a lasting imprint. So today I have with me Dina Kessler. She's president for Kessler Creative. So Dina, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Denise. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you a little bit. So to kick us off, why don't you tell us a little bit about Kessler Creative?
Sure. So we are a direct marketing agency based out of Jacksonville, Florida. We've been in business almost 20 years. We do a lot of commercial printing. Most of what we print is direct mail, letters, postcards, all great things of that nature. We also have a large format division. So we do a lot of wall branding and vehicle wraps and such for clients, a lot of signage. And our latest focus is working with clients on those omni-channel marketing campaigns and really helping clients look at different channels, how they work together, and in the end, just trying to help them grow their revenue.
That's a lot of fun. And I imagine the digital technology these days has certainly helped with the omni-channel, with all the direct marketing, especially with variable, making sure that the messages are matching who you're sending to and all of that fun data management part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's what I think is exciting is when you're working with a variety of different types of industries and watching like what may work over here for this type of industry might not work necessarily with a retail client, but you can customize and personalize the campaign itself, which our team just really enjoys doing. So we're always working on what's best for that client, their product and their service, and how to change it up.
Yeah, it's always so interesting to me, like how the different segments respond. Some people might respond to one thing and other people just don't bother looking at it at all. It's interesting to to see that those demographics and how they all relate to the different industries. Who responds better to different types of, is it a postcard? Is it some kind of direct mail piece? Who uses the QR codes that are put on a lot of these pieces now?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So, how did you get started in the printing industry? I'm guessing that you didn't just wake up one day and say, I want to be a printer. So, how did you end up getting started?
So this is an interesting factoid for sure. I was not personally in the printing business back early on. I actually went to college for hotel restaurant management. That's what my degree is in. Out of school, started working for restaurant chains and ended up as a general manager of, if you remember, Bennigan's.
I do.
Good old Bennigan's. It was a lot of fun. I worked for Bennigan's for close to 10 years. I was a general manager. And then honestly, the late nights, the holidays, I think is what really, in the end, put me over the edge. My husband and I have two kids, so they were small kids at the time. And I just was like, I can't keep working all these holidays. Today in the commercial printing business, I laugh a little because people are like, oh, are you off on President's Day? No, we don't close commercial printing business for President's Day, but we certainly close for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and New Year's Day. Literally, Bennigan's was open 365 days a year. And so I had just was like, no, I have to redirect life. And at the time, my husband was working for a company in the printing side, but was in the publishing side, different magazine concepts and stuff. And so I joined that organization. And from there, we went on to learn a lot about advertising and marketing and working with clients and till we decided to launch out and open our own commercial printing company. So
That is very interesting. I can completely understand the time, not that I want to say time suck, but the restaurant and hospitality business is a tough industry. Like you said, Bennigan's was open 365 days a year. It's not like it's 9 to 5 by any stretch of the imagination.
No, no, not at all. Not at all. There were certainly weeks where you're working 6 days a week, you're working long hours, and then on top of it, when you're there on a tease, but like the major holidays, right? It just was, as a mom, I was like, what am I doing? I'm not doing that. I'm not sacrificing my kids and my family life for that. So, although if you talk to my kids today, they would say, what do you mean? Like you and dad worked tons in the printing business too. I know, but
So why print? You said your husband was working in publishing. Why decide to put your stake down and say, I'm going to open up a printing company and a commercial printing company at that?
great question. In the publishing side, our clients, we started actually outsourcing a lot of print, a lot of direct mail, a lot of signage, not just the publishing that we were doing, just because they liked the work we did for their ad or they loved the concept we did for the magazine. And we started working with these clients on all other marketing type mediums. And when we realized we were outsourcing a lot more of that, we just decided that was like the wave of the future for us. And we got crazy and bought a press and some equipment. And honestly, and luckily, we hired some great people along the way because we didn't know how to run a press. We didn't know anything about that. But we've had some great team members that have just been a part of the company from the start that have been all in, and we've all learned together.
So how did you learn? You're buying equipment. How do you even buy the equipment if you don't understand the industry, if you don't know how to run it? That kind of just boggles my mind, honestly, that whole process.
We were fortunate that we had a couple of companies we were working with, vendors that were pretty open and, hey, if you we'll share whatever we can. Down to like when we first opened, I will never forget Don Hoffman of Mac Papers. At the time, he was our account person. And Don, he spent countless hours with me talking through and teaching me about paper, things I didn't know, and explaining grain and explain like everything, cardstock versus text weight and all the different brands out there. And honestly, the biggest thing I think, you want to grow in your career, you absolutely have to be willing to learn and put the time in and effort, right? And when you have people that are willing to sit down and teach you, it's amazing. And we were just really blessed. Same with the company we were looking at the press for. It was a DI press, so digital imaging, very different from hanging plates and stuff. So for us, it was a quicker process into it because we didn't have to learn all the other aspects of the original start of commercial printing and stuff. So again, like just everything we were here, like learning from others and connections that we had made really made a difference.
In some ways, you got to pick the best of technology because you were starting from scratch at that point,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is
Very different than either somebody who's taken over a family business or, yes, I walk my floor today and I'm like, gosh, that's a really old piece of equipment. But back compared to some other companies I know, no, that is not the case. But yeah, like we were fortunate. So most of the products that we've purchased over the years have been that we say commercial printing, but they're not the traditional, right? They're a lot more direct image type products, whether it's inkjet or toner based or yeah. So that we've been really fortunate. The technology over the last 20 years has been really amazing to watch the change in how products are produced,
yeah,
even to so much more automation, bindery equipment and stuff like that. So
it's so interesting. I started covering the industry in 98. So just the changes since I started, it's 28 years this year, which is creepy and scary all at the same time. It's amazing how much has come to fruition. Those first presses, the quality you'd hear, oh, it's not so good. You have to go offset. But now the quality is phenomenal.
yeah, absolutely. It's very impressive to see different prints off different types of machines out there that are, yeah, that back in the day, you would only get that with a true commercial style press. And yeah,
So now, in addition to your rep from Mac Papers, were there other people that really helped you when you were trying to figure out this thing called printing?
yes, along the way, some of it took us a couple of years to learn, but like down to how to mail at the best postage optimization that you can and how to produce mail in bulk and palletizations and SCF drops. I will say that very interesting, but a very good mentor of mine, someone that my husband and I met through the local ballet organization. I know it's
Random.
so our kids were ballet dancers and they were taking class at the ballet school here. There's several in Jacksonville, but this one trains in classical ballet, Florida ballet. And my mentor, Leela Levan, actually served, she was on the board of the Florida ballet because her daughter used to take class there when she was in school. And now our kids were taking it. And so the director said, "Oh, you have to meet Leela. You guys are in the same line of work." Because our son was there on a scholarship. And so we're like, what can we do to give back? And that's how that ball got rolling. And
Mhm.
so she introduced us to Leela, and Leela was like, wait a second, you're not involved in the Postal Customer Council, the local Northeast Florida branch. And we're like, what's that?
What is this thing you talk about?
Exactly. And so Leela's, you have to come to the next meeting with me. And so we go to the meeting and we meet the district manager and the postmaster for the Jacksonville area for the postal service. And just before you know it, you're making more connections and we're learning more. Oh, wait a second, we should be looking at drop shipping our own mail. And yeah, so the things that we've learned along the way are all because people were willing to share their knowledge. And Leela and I are still very good friends. She sold her business, but she's still in the industry still, and we're connected. And she's introduced me to a whole nother world. And she had me come with her one year to the National Postal Forum in Anaheim. And we're going to submit to do a class on direct mail. And we went out and it got accepted. And we went out and spoke at the National Postal Forum and did a session and started going to different speaking engagements together. And because of Leela, I actually was asked to serve as a board of director for the National Postal Forum. I just started in January, and which is an amazing accomplishment for our industry.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Adding on just a little additional work to what you're already doing, right?
Yes. Yeah. But all for the good. Like, I'm super excited about that.
That's amazing. And it gives you a way to give back to the industry and help the people that were in your position a couple of years ago or 20 years ago when you were just starting out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So when it comes to the printing industry, obviously, I don't know, did you have a notion or an idea of what the industry was like before you really started working in it?
No, I tell you, so this is an interesting take back to my restaurant days. Bennigan's used to do all kinds of marketing. Okay. Every holiday or event that they would launch, they would send out direct mail. They would do huge direct mail campaigns, radio ads, etc. And they would notify, hey, this is coming up, just so the stores are aware, be prepared for your volume to pick up. And sure enough, like you would see it. So I got to see it as a restaurant manager, witness like what direct mail and what marketing did for my store and for generating revenue, and just watch as coupons would come in, lunch, dinner, and we're tracking our revenue. And we're like, oh my gosh, we're up in sales and from last year. And right. And it just experience and prepare and know after time. Okay. So last time they did a direct mailer, this is what happened. Here's what we need to be prepared staff wise. Here's what we need to be prepared to have food wise. And here's what we know is going to happen to our revenue. So I got to experience it from that perspective and know the power of it. And I think that's totally helped being on this side of it. So when I am talking to clients and I can help and explain to them, all right, we have to prepare your team for what's going to come in and stuff like that. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, especially season after season, you can tell every holiday or whenever something went out, X amount would increase over the 2 weeks following. You can probably track those trends on how all that revenue was coming in because of that coupon that people got in the mail.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's been fun. So to be on that side and then now to be able to help others with that. Yeah, it's really cool.
That is
Full
really,
circle.
really definitely full circle. Now, when you started, you said you had 2 kids at the time, right?
Yeah.
So how has that been building a business from scratch? as a woman, I don't know, are you doing this with your husband? I guess you are doing this
Yes,
with your
I
husband.
am.
So
Yep, we're partners in the business, and we started together and still haven't managed to kill each other and still run the business very well together today.
that's good.
Yeah, so it's been great. I will say it's nice to have a partner, especially one that you have a great communication with, because you can balance that off of each other. Where if you're flying solo, sometimes that's a little harder, I think. Yeah. But
But at the
yeah.
same time, the work is always there because it's the two of you. Do you have that where the personal comes in and the work goes home? And how do you manage that and balance that?
So I feel like today it's a little easier than it was early on. Number one, we were still trying to build the business and we didn't have as much volume as we do today. And so you're the stressor of the finances and trying to not bring that home as what you're trying to raise kids and the holiday, or I shouldn't say, but the vacation time was
Mhm.
very limited back then. And we did work some weekends and sometimes we would drag our kids into the business and be like, this is a mail tray. When it comes off the end, pick it up and but seriously, like my kids they can tell horror stories about how they worked at a young age. And it's
It
just
builds character. That's what it does.
does. That's what I tell them today, at least. They loved it then. They thought it was, this is so cool. Today, they're like, you made us work. I'm like, you still work. You're fine. But you do have to learn to shut down. Because there was probably a period with, as I'm saying that joking around, but where it probably took a toll on the family. And we
Mhm.
started saying, okay, like this weekend, no one's working. We need to take a chill, take the kids, go do stuff, laugh, fun, whatever, and do something entertaining and stop worrying about everything else. And so you do have to learn to plan that and put it in your mind because otherwise it can be very consuming. And at the end of the day, as much as we love our clients and everything, you have to have fun and you have to have downtime. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, and
definitely.
that's today it's different. We have a bigger team. We have a lot more happening. Of course, you have to manage it all but we have more leaders to help support the company. So if we do take a week and go spend time with our kids, we're really fortunate to have a group that we've helped develop that
Mhm.
understand the company. We always say we're always working because we always have our phone with us. But in that regard, it's nice. I can go away for a week. And if someone really needs me, they know how to get me. And
Mhm.
I could take 10 minutes to help walk through it and solve it and go back to the family.
Yeah, the smartphones have been a blessing and a curse, I think, in some regards, because I know, like, some women I've spoken to is they have that guilt too. They could be sitting at a little league game and they're literally like going through their phone, answering emails and talking, doing quotes and whatnot. And they're like, I'm working, but I'm here I'm physically in the stands watching a little league game, but I'm not really mentally here. So that
Yeah,
was hard for some women to turn off. Because before that, they said before cell phones or smartphones, it was harder to have that constant communication. So I said there's pros and cons. Like you said, it's great. You can step away for 10 minutes to be able to answer something, but at least being able to draw the line too, I think is important.
very important. I think too, I don't use it, but if I absolutely couldn't respond, I think that people should use that out of office. I'm really sorry. I see colleagues do it. They're like, I'm offsite. It could just be a work event. Like I'm
Mhm.
offsite a work event. It might not be as responsive to your email. I promise as soon as I get back. Or if it's an emergency, contact someone. And I do think that there's a lot of good thing that can come from that. People they have to learn to shut it off. Why would you want to miss the home run your kid might have just hit? Like just
Exactly.
why? No,
You hear the
we tell
scream,
our
you
team
look up
that.
and you're like, "Oh, I missed that because I was answering an email on my phone."
Yeah,
And obviously, when you built the business, you didn't build the business because that was the only thing you wanted to do. You built it because you wanted to have something stable so that way you could raise a family, so that way you could have a life. It wasn't that you were
absolutely.
building it just to have the business.
Absolutely. The family always drives for us. It always drove why we were doing it. That was our why and still remains our why. Yeah, no. And we tell our team the same thing. You're entitled to time off. You need to go debrief, go have fun. Because sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away, have a great time, laugh, bring joy to your life, come back, and then you're like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm good now.
Yeah, I know, like, my husband's in accounting, and so sometimes he's, like, poring over the spreadsheets and trying to do all the and something's just not balancing right. and he just can't figure out where it's coming from. He's now started like just walking away because and 10, 15 minutes, he comes back. Oh, that's why I couldn't balance something. I
Yeah.
think that works the same across all of our industries.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, it's interesting you say that. I'm reading a book called Hidden Potential that talks about that. It talks about the playtime and balancing it in. And sometimes people like you're training for something, you're working hard towards something, and you're doing too much that you physically and mentally just shut down from it.
Yeah.
Nothing good is going to come out of that. You can't rehearse yourself to perfect performance. So if the best thing you can do is to go have some kind of distraction and yeah. So
Yeah.
it's an
I'm
interesting read.
I love seeing those out of office emails where people are like, I'm sipping a pina colada on the beach this week. Go for it. Have fun. Enjoy that time. 'Cause
Yeah, for
it's so
sure.
important to have. Now, for you, you've worked with your husband in raising kids, building a business, and you've talked a lot about that flexibility to being able to take that time off. Has that also translated like downstream? You mentioned like employees need to be able to take off, but how does that kind of reflect within your business, within the printing industry too? Because I think that's something that's changed over the last 20 years about the being able to be much more flexible with people that are working.
Yeah, I think I think there's a balancing act to that, right? Because a lot like I think back to during COVID, right?
Mm.
And I think companies that have been able to go remote, that's amazing, but we produce products. Like you can't produce them without physical humans being in the building and operating equipment and making things happen. And I think you have to be able to balance that while making sure you're balancing the work life
Yeah,
stuff. And I
which
think
is hard.
sometimes it's really hard. It's hard. I don't want to make it like a simplification of it. I think that it has to be purposeful. Yeah, there's weeks we have to put in more hours
Yeah.
and if you're willing to if you want to succeed in life, you have to be willing to put in the work. End
Mhm.
of story. It's just the way it is. But at the same time, you have to learn when to shut down and balance that. And I think people have to make sure that they purposefully plan that out. If you know every year your family loves to do this big lake trip that everyone comes together, like you better make sure that you're blocking that time out and you're putting it on the calendar in advance. So everybody knows I'm going to be gone. I'm doing,
Plan for it.
exactly, and plan for it. That that's just it. The last minute, yes, and there are going to be things that come up last minute or emergency stuff that happens, and everyone needs to be supportive and say, "Go do what you got to do. We
Mm.
got you here."
But the
Same thing.
week-long
So
fishing trip in the mountains on a lake, that's something you plan.
yes, exactly. Yeah, and I think when you have a team that wants to help and take care of each other, when they
Mhm.
care about each other, they make sure that everybody's the important stuff is taken care of. Like we got you go.
Definitely. So you've had a lot of different experiences over the years. For you, has there been any challenges that you faced as a woman? You're a president of a company in a very male-dominated industry. Have you faced any challenges with anything?
Absolutely. I can't tell you how many times we've been in a room or been in a trade show floor and I'm with my husband and they immediately just talk right to him and talk over me. And yeah, it's early on, I'd probably put it the dukes and start fighting about it. Now I'm like, whatever. I just back away. I listen and because it's not going to change the way I need to operate my business or what I need to do. But luckily in the industry, there is more focus on that.
Mm.
And you hear and see people trying to improve that. I feel when I go to other meetings, like association meetings, things like that, I feel like men have a lot of respect for women in our industry. I do have a lot of male colleagues that I have great relationships with. And when you watch them interact with women, they're not like, they celebrate that, right? They're very respectful and stuff. But sometimes there's still that,
Lingering.
um, lingering. And some of it just comes from the fact of being at an event where there might be plenty of women in the event, but there's a lot of men leading still. And it's how do we get more women at that C level, I think is really more important than anything today. Because, and I think I will say this, I don't believe in promoting a woman just to promote a woman. I do not like filling quotas. I think that's horrible. That
You
doesn't do
don't wanna
anybody
just do the
good.
checkbox. Yes, it doesn't help anything.
It doesn't help anything because if you're not qualified, you're not qualified. But we should make sure that we're interviewing enough candidates that have the qualifications and really doing a good, fair assessment of who should be in that position. And then I think as women, we have to help younger women blossom to get to where they're comfortable in leadership roles so that they can have those opportunities at the C level.
Yeah, you
So,
knew
but
one of my
yeah,
questions was gonna be that how do we fix that? How do we get more women in those C-suite roles?
because we need them. And I really do think so. uh, I think we need more mentorship programs that help develop that, that help women that are younger, that are not in a management or leadership role, or maybe they're in a mid level management. And how do we help them
What
understand?
what's the path? What are those steps that they need?
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes too, I think the thing that, because we are so busy as women, moms trying to balance the life that, but I don't want, women shouldn't use that as a, I don't want to say excuse because
Mhm.
men want to be a part of their kids' lives just as much. So again, when we talk about planning, don't make it about, I have family, I have to get out of here for family, this or that. Hey, my day's complete. I did what I had to do and I'm
Mhm.
walking out the door. And if you need me, you can call my seller or send me an email and I'll get back to it as soon as I can. And no apology. No, you know what I mean? Like just because we're the women. No, that's not the way. But at the same time, you have to still do the role and still complete your job and do it more efficiently and effectively.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And what you said earlier is like when you said it doesn't bother you as much, it reminded me of Mel Robbins'
let them.
Theory. Yeah, that the book that she has out now is that you can control your own emotions. You can control your own reactions. Let them think what they wanna think. At that point, it doesn't impact you.
Exactly. Now, I will tell you that we've had vendors come in or potential vendors before, and we sit at a table and they don't even acknowledge my questions. It's just silly stuff, right? Because in their mind, I guess it's still the husband still in charge, right? Not that my husband acts like that. So it's not, it's an equal on his mindset. But anyway, we've not done business
With
with
some of those.
companies. Yes, because I've said, I didn't appreciate how they like discounted. They didn't even answer my question. He's like, some he'll say, you're right. They did not acknowledge what you said. And I said, so how's that going to be a partnership for us? Because we buy equipment from them. I've overseen operations more than, and he's been more sales, marketing side.
Mhm.
Today we both do both. So, we're like, because we have team members that are actually running those. So they're
Mhm.
reporting into us. But at the time, it's like I was knee deep in running our production floor and overseeing all operations. And you want to not answer my questions? I'm the one that's going to be calling you when when we have an issue or we've got questions. And if I can't trust that you respect that,
Then I'll take
so
my business somewhere else.
yeah, yeah,
It's honestly, I think it's improved over the last 20 some odd years about with that. So I don't think we see that as much, but like you said, there's some lingering stuff that still is there. I don't know what that's from, honestly, and I don't think anybody can really figure that out. Unintentional bias maybe, or just I don't
yeah,
know. Printing is manufacturing as well, and that's sometimes tough to think that, oh, it's a role that a woman wants is to be in manufacturing. It still is the physical industry, but it's still a rewarding industry in the long term.
very much, very much. There's nothing. I had a group of students that we did a tour from for marketing and the marketing university here. And they were like, to walking through and they're like, wow, this is like getting to see all those things on the screen come to life. It was so fun watching them. They'd pick up a sheet and they'd be like, they're going to cut this and this is going to be a postcard that goes out in the mail. They're just watching this stuff come to life. And I said, that's the beauty of commercial printing and direct mail marketing. Like we bring images to life and yeah, it's really cool. So it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of creativeness that can happen within the organizations, within our teams. You get to watch your teams interact and talk about a campaign for client. Yeah, very rewarding.
It is. And especially being able to have the kids get that peek behind the curtain to really see how all those things come to be. Most people just don't understand. It just shows up. They don't understand that for every piece of direct mail that there is like a full industry behind that one piece of paper.
Yeah, and they also don't understand like the data behind it and how the analytics and all of it and how you make it come to life and how you interact, how one piece is interacting differently throughout that print with the different recipient of it. So it is really fascinating.
Yeah, it's fun. Like I said, sometimes I think print's the best kept secret that's out there. But the
Yeah, I agree.
power that the industry yields and the impact that it can have on everyone is just tremendous. So knowing what you know now, so your history with Kelso Creative now, even your history on the hospitality side of things, if you were just starting out now, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh, breathe. Take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. You do not know everything today. You keep working hard. You keep reading, learning, talking to others. It's all going to work out. You're going to be really excited about the future, but take a breath because not everything is worth stressing about or trying to make it perfect in the moment.
You'll get there.
You'll get there. It's gonna be a great ride. You're gonna meet a lot of amazing people along the way who will be cheerleaders for you, and you will build great relationships. And through it, it's gonna be a really fun ride.
Well, Dina, that is awesome advice. And I think it's
Thank you.
something I think we all can take in, even if we're not just starting out in the industry. Thank you again for taking a little bit of time today. I really appreciate our chat and getting a chance to know you a little bit.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this.
Thank you for joining us on this journey to celebrate and amplify the voices of women in the printing industry. If you have a story to share or know someone whose journey deserves to be highlighted, we'd love to hear from you. Together, let's continue inspiring and empowering the next generation of leaders. Until next time, keep leaving your imprint. This is Her Imprint. See you soon.